You ever make a massive life decision, pour in your savings, move your family, and then wonder, what the heck have I just done? Yeah, this is one of those stories. You see, I opened a new gallery, didn't sell a single painting, and spent about $100 grand doing it. Was it worth it? Before we get into it in this video, let me take you back to where it all looked perfect, to the Marlborough Sounds, because that's where this whole thing really started. You know, most people think if you're living in paradise, you stay there.
Alfie! Come on, Alfie!
One of my favorite things to do is to go out on my kayak and take my best mate along with me.
Come on, Alfie!
This seemed a little bit too beautiful to not share it with you. There's nothing better than getting out on the water with one of your best mates. Hey, Alfie, there's your good boy.
I mean, look at this place. The Marlborough Sounds, the top of the South Island, New Zealand. Famous for its world-class wines, oysters that ruin all other oysters, endless fishing, and views that make you stop mid-sentence. It was wild, it was raw, and it was ours.
There he is!
You wave at him.
My wife and I wanted something different. And we weren't trying to go full off-grid hippie, but we did want to raise our son somewhere real, quiet, and grounded.
You wave hello? Hello! Hello! Beautiful day today, isn't it?
And for a while, it was magic. We were the only ones in the bay. No neighbors, no traffic, just us and the birds. Oh, and the occasional crab, if you could find one. I got more material out there than I knew what to do with. That place soaked into my work like salt air into canvas, and the inspiration is still there. I have so much material, enough to last a lifetime. But isolation, even the beautiful kind, has a weight to it. As our son started to enter those toddler years, we really began to feel it more and more. It was an amazing time, but not without its challenges. Grocery runs were full-blown expeditions. Pack snacks, fuel stops, and hope that the road's not out. 4 hours in the car to get milk and Wheat Bix, as they say down under, yeah, nah. And then there was the whole social side, or the lack thereof. I mean, we weren't only craving that attention for our son, but we needed it too. And there's only so long that you can be talking to the trees before they start answering back. So then we made the call and decided to move on. And life sometimes throws you a curveball that you don't see coming. So I was living in the Marlborough Sounds, and I flew back to Lawrence at the start of 2024 to visit my friend Steve, who wasn't well. He was sick, really sick. And one day on this visit, he looks at me and says, "You're coming back to Lawrence. I just know it." I laughed, like, the heck I am, dude. And he says, "No, you're coming back to Lawrence." Steve had a way of knowing things, and he claimed it came from upstairs, and I believe him. And it turns out, he wasn't wrong. Now, Steve's gone, and I'm dedicating this video to him. And not long after that, I made a call to Jim, who is my landlord who owns this building. And I said, "Hey, Jim, can I have my old studio back?" Turns out it was available. And just like that, the wheels started turning again. Now, if you remember my previous studio build video from the Marlborough Sounds, then you'll know the amount of work that it took to set this place up. I'll link to that video in the description down below. Oh, and by the way, I got a really funny comment from somebody saying, "Hey, I think you just set up new studios so you can continue to do these studio build videos." Well, maybe you're not wrong. I gotta say, it's really tough to leave this space. I mean, check this out. This was the view from my upstairs studio. I got to look at this every single day. It was just sublime. It took ages to pack all of my crap into boxes. The studio, the artwork, the furniture, the family, everything. And the only way to get our stuff out was via barge. So, loading the shipping containers onto a barge and sailing it the entire length of Kinnaperu Sound to Havelock. We made the drive from the top of the South Island to Clutha Country, where the air was a little bit colder, the hills a little bit rounder, but this felt right. Now, at this point that I arrive in the studio, it was totally empty. It needed a lot of work. So it was time to roll up my sleeves and get on with it, because I needed to get this place in working order so that I could start painting again. Okay, so if you didn't already know, I had this space from 2018 to 2021, and I put a wall right down the middle to separate this gallery from my studio. I'd previously gone with this color scheme of midnight blue, but I've decided now to go with a deep green called Okati. I think this will really help bring those paintings out and really allow those gold frames that I want to display in this space to pop. Now, I had a bit of help from some friends to not only move in, but also get this space ready. And while I was away from the space, a lot of the things that I'd previously built into this building have disappeared. And so I needed to rebuild them, including the wall easel. And we'll get to that a little bit later, but there was a lot of timber that was going to be involved. All of this material is going to get milled down to form my wall easel. Now, here in the gallery, they had put up a picture rail. I decided to remove that to bring back my pristine wall. I really needed to prepare this wall, though, before I was going to display any paintings. You know, it's always the little stuff that no one ever gets to see that just eats your day. But please, drop me a like if you're enjoying the video so far, and if you appreciate my handiwork. Now, a little background on this space. This is located in the main street of Lawrence, in the South Island of New Zealand, on a major thoroughfare between two main cities, Dunedin and Queenstown. We get a lot of traffic on this road, so I'm hoping I'm going to get some tourists through that will see my paintings. That was the idea anyway, and it was a real motivating factor, and it helped me get through all of the grueling work. I gave the walls a solid coat of Zinsser 123 and then went right over the top with that beautiful green color. Once upon a time, I had a wall easel on this wall. This is the studio, and now I'm going to build it again, but this time even bigger. I start off by securing a 2x4 to the brick wall using masonry anchors. I'm going to then put flat sheets of MDF up against the brick wall. I want to cover these bricks because they can be quite dusty, but also I want to have a nice neutral gray color, a little bit darker than what I went with before. And this will help me when I'm filming my demos in the studio. That way the bricks won't be so distracting. This wall easel is even bigger than the previous version, measuring 4.8 by 3.6 meters. And I wanted to attach a camera to show you the process. Let's just say it was less than secure. I went and broke my really nice Sigma lens that attaches to my Canon This has been around for quite a while. It's one of my favorites. Maybe this fix will work. A little bit of glue and Bob's your uncle. Just pat it down. Just pat it down. And that'll work.
It's good to go.
That'll work. Good job. Every studio I have has one of these wall easels. It's called a French cleat, and I've been building them since 2015. It's stable, it's cheap, it's easy to build, and it uses no floor space. While another buddy helps me by painting that wall easel, I go ahead and get started on my work area, where I need a little bit of think space. Time to build another desk. Apparently, Tischler means table maker in German. There you go. I find myself building a lot of tables these days. I find the right height and then put a cleat against the wall and then mark it off as level. Now this desk was built in my original studio space. It then went up to the Marlborough Sounds and now it's come back down once again. I've trimmed it because I'm going to be adding some more pieces to it and even extending it a little bit. Now I attached some gussets here at angles, and this is going to help free up that floor space beneath me as I sit and work at this table. This is where all of my designs are going to be done, on the Wacom tablet. It's a really simple build, as you can see. It's just plywood sheet and 2x4. I'm sanding it down just to smooth out some of the edges and then patching up some of the joints. Now the reason it's dark is because previously I'd covered it with polyurethane and stain, and so I go ahead and reapply this after I've sanded down some of these corners and joints. And if you're wondering how strong this desk is, it's certainly strong enough to carry this doofus. Now above the desk, I want to have some shelving and display space. I got a lot of knickknacks that I've been collecting over the years, things that I've used for still life paintings, and little trinkets that inspire me.
Yeah, look at that. Looks really good. Really good right there. Precision. Oh. Look at that. Look at that. Not a discernible gap at all. Amazing. I'm also available to build houses.
No one's ever going to know how bad I screwed up these shelves. It's not like it's going on the internet, so it's all good. After I've built my precision shelving, I go ahead and give it a coat of this same color. This is oak. It's a water-based polyurethane varnish with an oak stain to it. Generally, everything in the studio is a little bit darker to allow whatever I'm decorating the space with to come out. I think it's a pretty cool color. I've gone ahead and painted my desk to match this. I'll finish off my workstation later, but there's a huge job that needs to happen before anything else gets done. And that's painting. And I don't mean the fun landscape kind.
So it turns out I'm a little bit of an idiot. I know you probably could have guessed, but I was trying to match the color of the ceiling, right? And I thought I did a pretty good job. Here, check this out. This is how well I did. You see that right there? You see that? That's as close as I thought I could get using the color chart. Absolutely hopeless. So change of plans. What we're gonna do now is instead of freshening up the ceiling and the beams like I thought was gonna be the plan, now what we're gonna do is actually just paint it black. The whole thing, black. That's right, black ceiling. I know, bit of a risk, but it'll cut down on some of the reflected light, but I think it'll actually end up looking pretty hot. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. But actually, before you comment, just wait and see it first, yeah? All right, let's do it. Big job. This is George. I couldn't do it without George. Here he is. He's giving me a hand painting the ceiling. It helps having a professional painter in the house.
Massive shout out to George and Lorraine. I could not have done this without them. George came down from the North Island to give me a hand painting. He was an expert at cutting in and using that sprayer. It turns out that spray painting ceiling fans is a lot cheaper than buying brand new black ones. So, like with every project, you're gonna hit some snags and some challenges. That's no problem, we're gonna get around this one.
we need a sprayer to do like all of that stuff. Like that's gonna take a while with a roller and a brush. And we don't have a sprayer. So apparently the sprayer was coming and it has been taken apart because it was blocked or something. George knows what he's doing. He knows how to unblock it. But then the guy, friend of a friend, ended up saying, well, it's blocked, it doesn't work, so I'll just leave it in where it is and not bring it. So it looks like I'm gonna have to buy one. That's all right. In the meantime, George is gonna get all of those beams covered, so that should be okay. He's doing a great job. Great job, George. I nearly got you dropping that bucket of paint, bro, just as I said that.
Before using the sprayer, all of the cutting in needed to be done, and most of the underside of these beams was done by hand. It's a pretty big building, so it's gonna take a while.
Well, the dream team, George and Lorraine, have probably put in nearly a full week so far. And man, I'm impressed. These guys are making some serious headway. But today's the day. We're gonna be spraying the ceiling. And this is when it's really gonna be put to the test. Did this idea work? Is the black paint actually gonna work? Is it gonna look okay? So far, I think it's looking really clean against those bricks. The gallery's looking amazing. The studio, I think, is gonna be incredible. It will cut down on reflected light, for sure. But I just think it's gonna clean it up so much. So today, we're gonna spray it. I've just been in here covering everything. Got everything covered in here. Because apparently there's gonna be, except for that, but that's all right. But there's gonna be quite a bit of overspray apparently. And then tomorrow we're gonna get in here. That's the shot, bro. That's so good. That's epic.
Done, buddy.
Are we done?
Thanks, good.
Ah, is that the end of it, bro?
That's it.
Hey, bro, where are you? I can't even see you, dude.
You know, George, smoking's bad for you. What happened, bud? What happened today?
Look how white it looks.
I love your gloves, brother. They're really nice gloves.
I think the ceiling looks absolutely amazing. So it's time to get onto the floor. Now, previously I'd painted the floor black and the ceiling was white. Now the ceiling's black and now the floor's gonna be white. I know, a little bit of a reversal here, but I think it's gonna look really clean and help set those paintings off. We're using a hard-wearing acrylic flooring paint designed for high foot traffic. It's gonna take about 3 or 4 coats, and we're going along cleaning up all the edges too.
So I'm here at the studio alone this morning because George and Lorraine, they're now finished. They're done. So they packed up, they've gone. They did an amazing job. They made mincemeat out of that ceiling. And now they've done the floor, well, part of the floor in the gallery, but they can't do the floor in here. Why can't they do the floor in here? Because your boy ain't done yet. Far from it. Look at this, what a mess. Come on. You see that corner there? Yeah, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with that corner either, but I got something cool going in that corner. My buddy Mike is coming back to Lawrence. Mike's a badass sculptor. And I shared the studio with him for about a few years back. And we had a blast together. So Mike's coming, he's gonna be sharing the studio with me. I'm gonna be painting at this side. He's gonna be sculpting on that side. And there's gonna be a big red line in the middle of the studio where he's not allowed to cross it. If he does, then he owes me like $100 or something.
Now, at this point, Mike wasn't fully committed to coming down to Lawrence, but I thought if I built him a really nice desk just like mine, maybe he'd come down. Of course, it's going to be just a little bit smaller than mine. Don't tell him, but mine's 4.3, his is only 3.8. Living up to the Tischler name, this is another nice looking table. Even if it's just a wall cleat, I know this one's going to be pretty darn level. And pretty strong. At least enough to hold a solid doofus. I built this desk in 3 sections. Again, it's plywood construction with 2x4s to reinforce. If you want to see my blueprint, here it is. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to build exactly the same. I find that the desk is just as important as the easel. You know, this is a space where the artist wrestles with ideas, deals with that self-doubt, has these creative breakthroughs, is a place to think. Really, we have to make the studio the place that we want to be. And I find that having a really good desk helps me get in that creative mood. I know Mike is going to use this as a layout space where he looks for his photographic reference. He also does quite a bit of model making, and he's going to have an iMac sitting somewhere over here in the corner. I decided to add a little corner piece to this. If he was going to rest his keyboard, he would sit here comfortably facing that corner.
I'll start off today by painting those legs black. And then we're gonna paint the top with that beautiful polyurethane stain. Give that a few coats, that'll be nice and hard wearing. Nice, smooth, glossy finish. Ready for all kinds of projects that Mike's gonna be up to.
I've really been looking forward to Mike coming down to share this studio with me once again. He's the only one that I've really been able to share a studio with effectively. Now that could be because I'm a typical temperamental artist. Maybe it's the fact that he's a really easygoing guy, but for whatever reason, it works. I find that when you're around the right people, they bring the creativity out of you. And sometimes when the right creative minds get together, you can really produce your best work. And as I was saying, it's not a definite that he's coming down at this point of me making this desk, but I figure if I do a really good job, it's an effective way to manipulate him, to twist his arm. So if he doesn't come down, he'll feel really bad. Because look at this table. It's friggin' amazing, dude. I have a wall above my drawing station that is absolutely covered with prints that I find from thrift stores. None of these cost very much, but they sure are inspiring, and it's cool to look at when they're all bunched up on the wall. I needed to clear some floor space, so I decided to unwrap these and get them out the way by putting them on the wall. And this is the background that you can see in some of my sketching videos. On my desk, I decided to install these really large monitor arms. The displays I'm working on are pretty big as well. This helps me see all of that detail in my digital designs. It just makes working here a little bit nicer. Most of the gallery lighting was still left in the space. I'd taken these studio lights up to my Marlborough studio and ultimately brought them back to reinstall here in this studio. You gotta have great lighting. I ended up going with a new system with a higher CRI. I talk about that in full on my Academy.
Today, it's a big day, momentous occasion. Today, what I'm doing is I'm actually setting up my system for the first time here in the studio. I'm gonna rig it up. I've got a Zoom meeting with my editor, Jim,
And so, yeah, I got to set this thing up. Here it is. The Mac Studio and all the bits and bobs in that storage tote. So this will all be set up with the monitors, with the Wacom tablet, doing some digital designs, doing a little bit of video editing myself, and also the podcast is going to be happening from here, from the desk. And then you'll be looking kind of there at this back corner of the studio, which should be really fun, really cool. Looking forward to this, excited about it. But, oh, dang, I'll tell you what, this thing's dragging on and on and on. But the pile of boxes is smaller. It is smaller, and things are getting put away and up on the wall. Got a nice print of Milford Sound up on the wall. It looks tiny up there, but that painting is enormous. Well, it's just the print anyway. The original's gone, sold. So, yeah, still got to do my painting wall over here. Well, this is the painting wall, the wall easel, right? That's what that is. Like a display wall with portraits and landscapes and some cool stuff going up there. And Mike arrives today. I was really hoping that I was gonna have everything ready to go today because Mike's coming. And I'm not ready. And he's really gonna take the piss out of me as soon as he gets here. But then after he's done roasting me, he's going to hopefully lend a hand. So, should be fun. I still haven't unwrapped the couch. So we got some work to do. Let's go ahead and set this computer up, jump on a meeting, and then see what happens today. This project felt like it was dragging on and on and on. Maybe a bit like this video. But anyway, slowly but surely, I began to get through everything, unpack all the boxes, set up the space just how I like it. Many designs for paintings and many podcasts are going to be recorded from this desk. And then, of course, every studio needs a really nice studio couch. This one just arrived. It's bloomin' comfy, I tell you what. And Mike's arrived and made himself at home. A friend of mine once asked, how can one man have so much crap? It's amazing the stuff that I've collected over the years. Art materials, knickknacks and such. It always manages to travel with me to every single studio space, and I find myself not being able to turn loose of any of it. And it's not that anything in particular is valuable. It's just that everything kind of tells a story. Most of the furniture is secondhand. I found these old planning drawers at a warehouse in Dunedin. These things weighed a ton, and it wasn't easy getting them out of this warehouse. We had to move a ton of furniture out of the way just to get them out. I thought these would be perfect. If I spray painted them black and refinished them, these would store a lot of crap. And I've got drawers and drawers full of oil paint, pencils, art material. Everything has a place. And organization is key. I don't want to be spending a lot of time looking for stuff. It cuts into valuable painting time. Now, the thing I love about this wall easel is that you can create bits and bobs that attach to it. It's totally modular. So here I've got an iPad, an external display, and a little bit of a shelf to put a cup of coffee on while I'm working. After weeks of work, I'm finally getting this place set up just how I like it. I think a studio space should draw the creativity out of you as soon as you walk in the room. It's got to have that inspiration, something that makes you want to create and paint. This space is certainly starting to do that for me. It's now time I get out something that has been laying dormant for a couple of years. To travel with this safely, I had to take it off the stretcher, roll it up, and pack it into a PVC tube. That way it wouldn't get damaged in the move. I go ahead and restretch it around its 60 by 100 inch stretcher, attach the mounting blocks, and then get it up on that wall easel, ready to sling some paint. So there you have it. I built my dream studio. And then we had the gallery opening, and the room was totally buzzing. It was electric. But I didn't sell a single painting. But here's the thing, I still think it was a success because what we built wasn't just a gallery. It was a space where people connected, where ideas started to grow, where I found my feet again, and most important, where I found my people.
Well, it's lovely to see such talent in our town. Like, you look at that one there. I struggle to paint a wall, but that's just magnificent. It's a really natural scene, and it's something I can relate to. Like, he's got one over there, some Hereford cows, and lovely.
And there's so many nice things happening in Lawrence, you know, that this just makes it even better. Yeah, and you know, the building's been so beautifully restored, and everything's lovely about it. We love it, don't we?
It's just amazing, an old building like this and such modern artwork, you know, like, and to have someone like Andrew here, who's, you know, all the masters and that, it's bloody brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You couldn't ask for a better use of a building like this.
I've now got a team around me, other creatives who share the vision and want to be part of what's next. And the work is still moving, but online, to collectors all around the world. In fact, I'm sitting on a waiting list that is nearly a year long. So I'm feeling really blessed right now. But I'm also real about where I am. Lawrence is beautiful and it's home in many ways, but the reality is it just doesn't have that foot traffic to sustain the long-term vision that I have for my gallery. So for now, I've decided to close the doors. I'm just taking a little bit of time right now to just think smarter, think a little bit bigger, because I still think I've got a lot to say and there's a lot that I want to build. So what comes next? Well, that part's still unfolding. Stick around because the next chapter is going to get quite interesting. Oh, by the way, if you want to see how the studio and the business behind it actually works, I dive into that in detail on the Creator Activator over on Tisch Academy. You'll find that by clicking the link down below. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.